Hello, I'm Patricia McNeely from Twin Flame Reconnection, and today I want to talk to you about what's going on and what's happening. So if you look over the past, let's say several months, there has been an enormous push and there's been just, you could say, life turned upside down. It's time to get things up leveled and it's time to get things somewhat back to normal. But that normal is looking different. And a lot of it has to be what's going on inside your body, because that is the base foundation for the new level. And if you don't have certain parts of you that are up and running properly, your body will make it known. And this is why for so many of my videos, I don't just talk about the emotions of the ascension or the emotions of the journey. It is about the body. It is about the sensitivity of teeth. It's about headaches. It's about getting out of old things. It's about clearing out energies and hooks from other people. It's about really getting away from all of the past in a clean, very expedited manner. So something that normally would take, years and decades is actually happening at an intense pace for a lot of people. And a lot of people want to be done with this because you know why? They actually only focused on a person. They focused on an external person. And that's a paradox, because if you were to talk about it and actually ask the question, is my person an external person? The short answer is yes, but it might be someone that someone has simply attached to, and it's not even a deep connection. It's more like a connection of the mind, or seems like a good idea in the moment, or it was like just a short little period of feeling, and then, there it went. And people have spent a lot of effort on actually mistakes. And there have been sexual mistakes made. And that too needs clearing, because if you're plugging into people, if you're plugging into energies, and it's going to show up that it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't click, it's dissonant, it is feeling negative, painful, uncomfortable. Anything that's not you actually tends to feel very not comfy, uncomfortable, painful, pinchy, pokey, hurtful, harmful. And that's not just emotions, they are physical sensations. Aches, pains, pokes, and there you go with another go around. So a lot of people had assumed that as we go through the Lion's Gate that, quote, this portal is done. And there are actually several cycles where things can actually properly conclude if you do it right. Doing it the right way actually involves using many of your brand new divine connections that you may not have been aware of before, but yet it's time to avail yourself of it. That's not a passive thing. And that passivity has to give way to actual real actions, accountability, responsibility. It's taking charge of what you can take charge of. It's discerning what you can do. So one of the things to know is the part of you that is attached to others, that is from the past. It's not just your ancestry. If you were to see things the way I see it, you would see that there has been a sequence of many of the wars and disruptions in the worldwide, to actually try and get out of people's collective memories. But when you have the upheaval in the collective memory, that's sort of a pain body, a collective pain body, an ethnic pain body, and after that comes the individual side. That is where you need to focus. Because if you don't make this about yourself, you're going to find yourself saying things like, you know what? I love humanity, but I can't stand people. And I don't care. That person never responded to me, so I'm out. I'm really tired of twin flame stuff. I had a number of people express that, even though they gained the benefit of the class because they up-leveled. And that up-leveling is actually the male-female or it shouldn't really be male-female. It is masculine and feminine balance. It happens through actually doing things with your body. It doesn't happen by just, waving a crystal around. If you're going to use a crystal, it has to be on a specific spot. If you're going to use other tools, it has to be specific. It can no longer be vague. You have to go between choosing a lifeboat or a life preserver. Otherwise, you go down with the Titanic. Okay, those people, not a lot of them had a choice. You have choices. So here's the other thing to know. You're here to clear whatever has been attached to you, whatever you have been attached to. And some of that is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to focus on clearing and moving and dealing with the purging. Part of the connection to others, as we know, it can be hurtful, harmful, okay? That's the negative stuff we want to get rid of. So there's a level, and if you're under it, you may have heard this expression, being in the earth and not of the earth. I teach people how to up level so that you can do that. And you feel it. And it is something that feels very natural to you because it's a return to your more natural state of being. For men, it's the heart. For women, it's also the heart. For men, it's the heart and other areas within them, particularly some of the areas back here, particularly one of the feet, because men hold certain anchor spots to hold life as we know it in place. So even if we look over the past year, what has been utilized quite a lot? Okay, you could almost say the masculine has had a driving force to get us out of this mess, to get us out of the collective pandemic, to switch gears, switch it up, and essentially do what I call be like Captain Kirk and adjust swiftly to any space emergency. Okay, we use that masculine side of the energy. The divine masculine is on it, but the human being you're focused on, that may not be even him at all. And you get signs and signals. And if you're ignoring those, it's time to really find out how to focus on you, because you need to. Only you can get these things into place. Only you have the keys to get, some of the things inside unlocked and up and running. So what does that mean? Okay. Sometimes it is the ancestral stuff that runs in your family. It could be something as mild as tendencies towards high cholesterol, which then accumulates and winds up giving someone a stroke or a heart attack or both, or a series of them. How would you like to completely ditch that because you have been rigged up with the correct divine connections? That sounds pretty good, right? It happens, and I help to make it happen. Celiac disease, prediabetes, things that are chronic conditions that are a concern for people and sometimes do put people in mortal fear. What if I have to live with that? Or worse, you hear stories out there of people abandoning people who are sick. I just heard one on the radio the other day. The woman was very young, 24 years old. I'll just say she sounded rather attractive. She called into the Delilah show, and the man she was with just could not deal with her illness. Didn't want to take care of her, didn't like having his life derailed because of her illness and all of the time and energy and effort it took. And he didn't want to do it, and he abandoned her. Okay? And that was a recent story. That's not something from the 1800s. That's happening now. And as you would know, she did get through it because it didn't kill her, okay? But she had to find that part of herself. And people with a deathly illness do seem to find that part of themselves. A lot of people ignore those things until it becomes a crisis. Okay, they ignore all the warning signs until it becomes a crisis. And I'm saying right now, you don't even have to have warning signs. You can start and get up and running and get the parts of you leveled up in time for what's happening in March of 2021. That is going to be another huge awakening. So what do we know about the awakening of 2020? It included a lot of focus on things that are needed, but it was a worldwide pandemic. Okay, so yes, pandemic happens. It's not a made up thing. It's not imaginary. It really is killing people. Many of the people it's doing is they have underlying conditions. But it is putting a focus and an emphasis on living, real living. And that's where I want you to be, is where you're focusing on your life going forward. Not, well, this person never responded, so I'm out and I'm done and I don't feel like it and I don't feel like working, and you just pretty much flatlined your whole life. That too is not your fault, but it's time to get you out of it, because that runs so deep into your heart it isn't even funny. And it can lead to very serious things, very serious physical things. When the metaphysical things start, by the time they get to your physical body, it's time for physical effort. So I say, be preventative, be a prevenger, be the person who prevents it and heads it off at the pass and dodges that bullet, okay? Because now you can. For the women, your reproductive parts, your reproduction has been vital to the growth of this planet and many other planets. Without getting all woo-woo about it, haven't you done your duty? The divine feminine is due for some fun, romance, adventure, and excitement. Doesn't that sound lovely? That does not preclude you from doing certain things, but your heart and your emotions are a vital part of this. Just like for the masculine, do you know what happens with that driving force? I mean, it's like having a bunch of stockbrokers driving a train towards the edge of a cliff. It's intense. And it's intense for your other half, if your other half happens to be a man. And it is intense for people living here right through it. And it shows up in certain ways. People are feeling depression. They're feeling like their life isn't worth a damn. They're feeling slightly vague about things, like they really can't decide what. And then you're just flat out. And then you're just saying, I don't know, maybe I don't really want to kill myself, but if I die tomorrow, I guess I did what I could do. You're not getting out of it that easily, sorry to say. And the way is up. That is called hitting a wall. If you're hitting the wall, then recognize it for what it is and start getting into your life and the lifeline that I'm offering here. Because this is real and it is not going to stop. We are fully moving forward. Not only are we moving forward collectively, but as an individual, you have to move forward. You have to move forward and onward and upward. The internal process is taking over. So what that means is you have interconnections that really you can only be touched by the higher parts of you, your soul and your 5D. As someone who has gone through the cycle and has actually completely completed my women's cycle, and I don't just mean menopause, I mean the entire cycle of adjusting everything so that I feel really good. I feel decades younger than I actually am. And I've had people tell me that. I've had people tell me that I look and feel like that. I have had people who I bump into from years ago and they comment on it. That doesn't feed my ego. What that lets me know is that what I'm doing is working and it can work for you too. So how are you going to get into the life and love that you're really here for? Because let's face it, a lot of what's being reported out there, that should be teaching you what love is not. And if you're not learning from that and doing an about face and coming to join my group in classes, it's just time. It's time for you to start doing that, because I am actually a higher level healer and teacher than you may realize. And that, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but that's actually true. That actually is a lot of who I am. And I was pushed hard. I was pushed hard, woken up nightly, writing things down. I have tubs. I probably have 4 tubs in my garage full of just notebooks and spiral notebooks of just things. There are things I haven't even presented yet because people aren't at that point yet, but it's ready. And so if you would like to get the help to get you to where you really need to be, where you want to be, everywhere you want to be, so that we lift this up and we lift it off, because nothing's going to happen unless things change. The shift has happened. Integrating a polarity shift means that you are integrating not just magnetic feminine, but it's magnetic and electric feminine and magnetic and electric masculine for each person that belong together. That's a lot. That's going from 2-strand to 4-strand DNA. Spiritual DNA activations do not happen at this level for the most part. You need to be in an upper level for it to happen. So like those first sparks that you feel actually do, need this to happen. So let's give you a real life example, okay? If you have someone that needs to break up with someone, okay, I've been able to get that going in 2 sessions. Things that are taking normally would take people a year to push off of. They're doing in 2 sessions. That's about a month's worth of time. Achieve some transformation for your life in about 30 days. That's huge. You do not need 6 months and 6 months of this and a year of that. And, look, a lot of you, if you've been hanging around the twin flame stuff, I'll just say that loosely, twin flame landia is undergoing its own transformation and the splits are happening. Okay, the splitting of the mind, the splitting of the beliefs, and focus on you. Because when there is uncertainty in the air, the best thing you can do is focus on you and getting yourself out. And I don't know how to help you with that. Come with me if you want to live. I'm here to help you be in love. My mission is to help you integrate the brand new template of relationship from 5D, which is about romance and caring and love. It's not about living without love. You really can't do it without love. If you pay attention to yourself, you're in a point where you're going to say, I really don't know what I love. You're going to find out, because the angel side of you wants to push off. So thanks so much for watching, and check out the links below. Check out everything new that I've got for you. Thanks so much. Bye.